My name is Leslie Ching. People call me Les. I'm 29 years old and I run a bouldering gym.
Yeah, just finished up day 4 of 12 Ks a day for 7 days. Felt pretty good today, better than I expected. Kind of nursing like an Achilles tweak, which was completely unrelated to running. That was skateboarding that did it. But yeah, so I'm up to 48 Ks for the week. Got 3 more and I'm feeling pretty good. And we're just going to keep pushing. We have about 5 weeks left until race day, and anything could happen between now and then, but I'm feeling in like a pretty good spot at the moment, so we'll just keep trying, keep showing up.
I've always been attracted to doing physical challenges. When I was 19, I ran my very first half marathon. The year after that, I joined the military. At the time, I'd been in my commerce degree for 2 years. I just had this feeling that I'd had a very sheltered life. And the idea of a conscription was appealing to a young version of me as a coming of age sort of experience. I first tried Amagama at the end of 2021, and I kind of just tried it as a bit of a joke. It seemed so far out of my reach at the time, based on where my skills were as a climber, but I was just so inspired by the location of the climb, the line that it takes up the boulder, and just how beautiful the movement was. And a year and a half went by, and for those 18 months, I don't think I missed a single day where I wasn't constantly thinking about ascending the climb. In March of 2023, I found myself standing on top of Amagama. I was absolutely elated.
Breathing, deep breaths.
Come on. Yeah, that's it. Come on.
That's it.
Come on, come on.
Move the legs.
Yeah, that's it. Come on.
Take 2 breaths. Beautiful.
Nice one!
Figuratively and quite literally, I was feeling on top of the world after sending Amagama. I took that motivation and I kept it going into the next 6 months and side quested into road running. I decided to set myself a goal to run the Melbourne Marathon in under 3.5 hours. At the time, as long as I was moving towards something, that meant that I wasn't going backwards, and that's what was important to me. As long as I was chasing something, then I felt that I had a purpose. In October 2024, I went on a 3-week hike in the Himalayas in Nepal, covering 250 kilometers on foot and unsupported. Part of the reason I wanted to go was that it was a physical challenge, but I think predominantly I just wanted to go somewhere as different as possible to Melbourne. Being in such a climate as the Himalayas is like being on a different planet. Every day you wake up surrounded by massive mountains and you are reminded of your insignificance. It's a humbling experience.
I'm Chloe Lim. I'm Les's girlfriend. We've been together for just over 6 years now, and we actually met climbing. Knowing Les for the last 6 years has led me to understand his goal-driven nature, and that's probably something we connected on at the start of our relationship.
I'm Lockie Hookway. I know Les through La Rocca, the climbing gym. We met a couple years ago. I think I've known Les for around 2.5 years, and I can connect to sort of being able-bodied and being physically fit and wanting to find the limits of your physical fitness.
I think it's really inspiring that Les has these really high goals to achieve for himself that he's clearly very capable of achieving. And I think that's inspiring for not only me, but kind of a lot of people that know us.
The reason that I undertake these challenges has kind of changed as the years have gone by. I think when I was a little younger, I felt maybe that I had something to prove to myself or to other people. And that reasoning has kind of lost a bit of its strength. Like, that's not really the main reason why I do these things anymore. I feel that I've been given like a pretty lucky gift in terms of like winning a genetic lottery. I feel quite lucky to be quite physically strong and able to do these things. I like to see what I'm made of, really, like deep down to the core. So a lot of the time is spent in my own mind, wondering whether I'm good enough, and oftentimes thinking that I'm not good enough and that I need to like push myself harder. Like, the only person that thinks that I'm lazy is me. No one else like looks at me and tells me that I am. But I feel, because I know myself the best out of anyone, that I know how many times I've skipped training sessions, or I've missed runs, and I like have slept in. So to myself, I feel that I have more to work on, and these challenges are a way for me to channel discipline. Yeah.
How are we feeling?
Kind of average this morning. Sometimes it takes me like a whole hour just to warm up. So on the day itself, I have to carry 2 liters of water. I need a thermal top and bottom. I need to have a waterproof jacket, head torch, phone, probably bring some music as well. So all in all, that's going to be like maybe 4 kilos worth of stuff. So not nothing. So it's good to, practice with a little bit of weight. just to simulate what's going to happen on the day. Alright, 20k's in. I feel that second bit was a lot better than the first 10k. Felt like it took me the whole hour to warm up. I think I'll only do like 10 more k's. I forgot I actually have to go to work. So I'll do another hour. And it's time for some energy. So I've got this chocolate goo, which basically looks the same going in as it does going out. I mean, look at that. It actually tastes pretty good though. Great thing is on the day, I can eat pretty much whatever I want. I'm gonna have like full strength Coke, you know, just like chips, Red Bull. We'll probably be downing those once the sun goes down. I'm taking these breaks because mentally it helps me break down the distance, because instead of like 30k's all at once, it's more like 3 sets of 10k's. And on race day, there's plenty of stops, and I won't be able to do it like alone. I gotta have a team with me to, you know, put me back together and, you know, give me food, change my shoes if I need to, or like tape my feet up if they're like blistered. And yeah, I think mentally to think of the day as like 10 sets of 10 instead of like one full length of 100 is going to make it just mentally a bit easier to digest. So on these training runs, I'm just like deliberately taking 5 minutes every hour just to relax and then just like get back to it again.
So when I first found out that Les was running this ultramarathon, it was kind of a funny story actually. I was actually chatting with a friend of ours at Laraka, and it was just about the last week before Les was coming back from Nepal. And we were like, oh, it's probably going to be like some crazy ridiculous goal that he's going to achieve next, because I mean, the pattern of goal ambitions have always stepped it up each and every time. So we're like, oh, what could be bigger than this hike in Nepal for a month?
I decided to undertake this ultramarathon on one of the last evenings that I was in Nepal. A few years ago, Chloe and I were in Bright, and we were having a drink at the brewery and having some lunch, and we saw people finishing the Bright Marathon. And we were so inspired by those runners that day. And at the time, I'd already run a couple, marathons here and there. And thinking about stepping into like the ultra space, I kind of mentally thought, oh, if I ever did something like this, I would like it to be this one. Not really knowing how difficult it actually was until I signed up for it. I'd just finished my hike. I'd spent about 3 weeks up at really high altitude, up in the Everest kind of region hiking, and I felt really, really fit. My red blood cell count was like through the roof. And I was in my hotel, and I was out on the balcony one night, and I just like felt that when I got home, I wanted something to like kind of sink my teeth into, to like make the most out of this fitness.
And lo and behold, when Les came back, he was like, hey, I've signed up for this 100-kilometer ultra marathon in Bright.
So the running event was called the Buffalo Stampede Festival. And there are distances from 10Ks all the way up to 100. I opted to run the 100K race. That might seem okay if it was flat, but unfortunately this was not. So the Bright area and the surrounding hills are at the foothills of like Victoria's Alpine region. So very, very hilly. The course takes you up Mount Buffalo, does a big loop around there before coming back down. But overall, throughout the day, you're doing 5,000 meters of elevation and 5,000 meters of descent as well. Well, my goal was just to finish the run. The longest I'd ever run was only about 42 Ks, and stepping from a road race type of background up into a full trail ultramarathon was, I guess, a bit of a bigger step than I anticipated. I don't think I necessarily underestimated it. It just really was the challenge that I was looking for. I was hoping to run it as a stretch goal in under 20 hours.
From my understanding, I think only about 80% of people finish Buffalo Stampede. So I was pretty confident that Les would would be within that 80%. And how long he would do it in, well, I suppose that was up to his training and how much effort he put in.
I'm not concerned about Les's ability to achieve this goal. I think, like any other goal he's set before, he is in the right state. Like, he came back from Nepal really fit, physically fit, has a good amount of time to train for the race, and just mentally is very capable of achieving it. My biggest worry for the race was basically just the duration of time it would take. It is 100 kilometers, which is so far, and just being able to manage the injury as well. That was probably the biggest thing we were trying to avoid.
Good morning. We are 12 days away from race day, and today I'm doing a bit of a trail run, as you can probably see from the backdrop. It's 7 in the morning, it's very cold, and basically filming with you basically makes me more motivated, because I'm like really unaccountable when it's like only myself, and you're bringing out the best of me, which is good, but I'm not usually like this. Like I'm like super lazy and like not that motivated, but this is good. We're here. You're making me look good, so that's great. But yeah, we're gonna try and run like 25 Ks or thereabouts today, with like over 1,000 meters of elevation. I only have like 2 more runs left, because I need to start tapering and give the legs a bit of rest before race day. So I think I'll run like today, and I might do like a 3 or 3.5 hour run like on Wednesday this week, and then you know what, that might be good enough, and nothing else I do at that point is really going to matter, and we're just going to show up and find out. But yeah, something I really want to get across is that like I feel like a massive phony. Like I feel like a lot of people wouldn't pick like 100K ultra to be as like their first race, and even though I'm someone who's run for like the last 10 years, like it feels like a really big step from going from like road marathon running to like 100-kilometer ultra marathon. And I feel like really underprepared, and I've skipped so many runs and slept in many times, but we're still going to try our best and hope for the best outcome as well. So I ran this trail like 3 months ago when I first was like, I'd probably start doing some trail runs. And the first time I did it, I walked a lot more, I ran a lot slower, and I didn't have as much confidence in my coordination going downhill. But today, 3 months of training starting to show, and I'm feeling pretty good, a lot more confident, a lot more sure-footed, and yeah, I'm kind of just enjoying it this morning. It's turning into like a pretty nice day, not as cold anymore. So yeah, take a little break and then we'll keep cracking on. just finished the run. Managed just under 22 Ks in about 2.5 hours, and just managed to run over 1,000 meters of elevation as well. Well, not exactly run, like hike as well, as you will probably see from the footage, but I felt really good today. Every time I run out here in amongst the trees and the nature and the forest, I find myself looking at my watch a lot less. And you know, I'm less focused on like my own internal suffering, and I'm able to kind of distract myself with the trees and the sound of the birds and stuff. I felt pretty good today, and being, you know, 12 days out, like, you know, I pretty much expect to be as fit as I could be. Although it's okay to feel tired at this point because I've done so much volume over the last 2 months, and I just need to let like the fitness soak into you know, my body by resting over the next like little while. But I am glad I woke up early, glad I got the run done, and the one point that I want to add is like, I wish I didn't feel, well, like while I was running, I was thinking a lot about ambition, and like there's like a heavy focus on our society about, sorry, let me get this thing out of my eye first. While I have this platform, and like while I was on this run, it makes me think a lot about like ambition, and part of me is like happy that there is this opportunity to kind of show what I'm doing with my life. But on the other hand, I need to acknowledge that like what I do isn't really important in the grand scheme of like anything. And sometimes like I think about motivation and like ambition and like having really big goals, and the emphasis that our society places on these big goals, and like tends to make like these stories about them. And it's kind of ironic because I am now like the subject of one of these things, but it's like I didn't choose to feel like super motivated. I think I've always just kind of been that way, and that doesn't make me better than anyone, and it doesn't make anyone that feels a lack of motivation worse than anyone either. And honestly, sometimes I wish I could be more just appreciative and like grateful of like simpler moments, and like not having much and not having to like always chase the next goal. But my brain is just like wired in this particular way. I'm the type of person that always needs to like remind myself to like slow down, and what you're seeing with all this training is actually like me be unable to deal with like the existential crises in my own brain, and so I have to like get up and run because I feel really bad about myself when I don't. So like this whole journey is like a lesson in like self-acceptance, and not being so driven about like trying to get across the finish line and like celebrate and like overcome this like huge challenge. It's just about an experience, like a human experience, and like whatever happens. Like I'm not too focused on like having to make it across the line. I know it's just going to be a really good experience, and whoever's there on the day to celebrate in that with me, I'm just glad that they're going to be there to see me and to support me. That's pretty much all I have to say. Hope that makes sense. Snake bandage there, survival blanket there. Yep. We're about to get wasted. Well, I'm just gonna have a couple slices of pepperoni. I don't want to have any toilet mishaps tomorrow morning, so I'm gonna keep it light, you know.
Is that keeping it light? Like, is that? I'm like, what are you saying? I don't know if that's keeping it light.
Just a healthy, well-balanced meal, you know, like meat and 3 veg. Alright, so this is all the gear that I'm using for tomorrow. A lot of it's just mandatory stuff to keep the runners safe. But I guess on my body I've got shorts, top, thermal that I might start with, but probably not because it's a little warm, but it's there as an option. Merino socks, shoes, hat with neck flap built in for style. 2 head torches, battery, GPS watch, tracking chip. Most important member of the team is my old iPod Nano from high school, which has all the original music from when I was in high school as well to listen to. Dope sunnies. Running vest with like 2 liters of water, and inside I've got like extra first aid equipment, survival blanket, snake bandage, beanie, and last but not least is like a waterproof coat as well. That's pretty much what we're working with. I'll be carrying a bunch of food as well, like a couple of gels, but yeah, that's what we're gonna rock to the start line with. So, I mean, now it's like 9 hours away from gun time, and the feeling of like being here in Bright makes me feel pretty like excited. I mean, earlier today when we went to pick up the bib and like went to the race village and like saw people finishing the 10K and like seeing the vibe and the atmosphere of like the run was very inspiring to see like the whole community coming around and getting around it. So yeah, the nerves is definitely starting to build now that we're here, and you know, I'm just gonna try to get as much sleep as possible and then wake up and, you know, whatever happens will happen. It's not much point stressing about it at this point because, you know, it's not gonna do any good. So the best thing that I can do now is just like to sleep and just to wake up and hopefully feel good. Haven't run in like 4 days, just to try and save the legs a little bit. And I've just been eating a lot of junk food to prepare. Some sections that I'm a little nervous about will be, I mean, honestly, straight off the bat, there's like a 900 meter climb, like in the first 10Ks. So I'm just going to take it nice and slow. I've got my hiking poles to kind of help use like my arms. Otherwise they'll be doing nothing else for the rest of the day. So yeah, hiking poles definitely will be a big must. Try to just lean into the hills and like not try to run up them too much. The game plan is to kind of just walk as fast as I can up the hills to conserve energy, and then run on the flats and hopefully down hills as well. Second big hurdle will be somewhere around like the 30K mark. There's a 1,000 meter climb over the course of 10Ks. The big walk that goes all the way up Mount Buffalo. And then we're kind of okay until right at the end, there's a little sting in the tail at the 88K mark. There's the Dingo Ridge, which is like another 600, 700 meter climb over like 6Ks, which will be the final little test of resolve and resilience, right? At the final 11th hour. Yeah. But, you know, I've kind of mapped it all in my head. I've like visualized the route, and, you know, I've watched the course description, the overhead kind of like view on Strava, and tried to commit it to memory, and like I want to know what obstacles are coming and when, and hopefully just be able to mentally prepare for them before I get there. But yeah, I'm really excited for tomorrow. And also, while the camera's rolling,
Oh yeah.
ass butter.
Oh yeah.
This is the hardest working team member.
I put my hand up for that role, but then
Vaseline.
he said he's got some Vaseline. He doesn't need me to be his ass butter.
Vaseline, sponsor me, please.
Don't sponsor me.
Good morning, everyone. It's 5 a.m. and we are 1 hour away from gun time. Yeah, very, very excited. It's raining a little bit actually, so that's going to add a little bit of spice to the mix. But I'm just having my coffee, hoping it's going to help speed up my bowel movement for this morning before we get going. And, you know, I've just been running a couple of laps up and down the street, getting some blood into the legs, and going to do some stretching as well. And yeah, hopefully show up to the start line feeling ready to go.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the Buffalo Stampede 100-kilometer ultra and the 100-kilometer team relay is go. Our team relay, so 4 runners over obviously 4 legs will tackle the 100 kilometres today.
I didn't feel nervous for him like at all until now, and then now it's raining and dark and cold and he's all on his own, so yeah, it makes me kind of emotional actually, but yeah, he'll be fine. It's only 2.5 hours until the first time we see him, so yeah, hopefully the rain starts to ease up a little bit, and then all goes to plan.
So we had let's just say, an interesting start to the race.
Our role on the day really was to meet Les at each pit stop. And he started the race at 6 a.m. And we had kind of chatted beforehand, knowing that the first pit stop that we would see him at was probably about around 2 to maybe 3 hours into the race. So the team, after we saw him leave the start line, we kind of went home, got all our stuff together, relaxed for a little bit, and went to a bakery.
I joked about it before the race that we wouldn't be at his first pit stop, or that we'd miss one of them intentionally. Obviously I was joking, but lo and behold, the first pit stop, we were running late. I remember driving there having a bad feeling. I was like, I have a feeling Les is going to get there before we do. And honestly, the reason we didn't get there is because of Beechworth Bakery. We didn't want to tell him that on the day, but we kind of spent longer there than we should have.
Anyway, we're about to leave, and then Lucky and I see on this table like the most delicious looking yo-yos. We're on our way, winding down these roads, pumping some tunes on the Bluetooth, and the music stops, and it's Les's name popping up on my phone, ringing us. My heart just sinks, like, oh no, the one job that we had to do, we've just failed on the first stop.
It's like the worst crew ever.
105
Maybe not right
Jiffy?
now. I need to stock up on some gels, yeah. I'll take. Sorry, there's different flavours.
Thought we're going to be like,
They're
it's going to be
not-
half an hour early, so we'll see.
That's okay. It's alright. It's alright. I was just expecting.
Dude, it's
So
so
are
bad.
we.
I had this bad feeling when we were driving. I was like,
Bro,
oh,
first
no.
stint was so shit. It was so fucking wet out there.
So wet.
So wet. Shoes are holding up real well though.
Yeah, do you need change shoes or
More
socks
gels.
or anything?
Nah, honestly, I'm okay for a tire change. I drank too much water, and like I pissed twice. Super clear, and like I'm starting to cramp up because I drank so much water.
That like that one? Yeah.
No,
Yeah, well, straight up just salt.
done that.
What is that?
It's just potassium. All right, maybe just head straight to the next one. I'll be there in like 90 minutes. So.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Keep going. You seem good.
Okay so far. Yeah, it was a bit of a crappy start in the morning, but like
Super steep as well, right?
super slow. It was such a slog at the start. It was brutal. But like pace at the moment is like 10:30 average pace for the whole segment so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I might actually slow down a little bit because I'm not like actually. I'm kind of ahead of schedule, so
Yeah.
just kind of keep pacing myself. Stick to that 20-hour. Kind of
Yeah, do it. Good, nice, dude. We'll see you at the next one.
Thank you.
No regrets though. In the end, he was fine. He didn't really need us the first 20 kilometers, and if he did, don't know if he would have got to the end.
Oh
man. I said in the car, I was like, I just like have this feeling he's there. And then as he just called,
and then I'm like, fuck, if he's calling, it's where the fuck are you?
yeah, he's not calling like, hey, I'm 3 minutes out,
Yeah,
which would have been
chill,
real convenient. That would have timed so well, but
So he
Damn.
said go straight to the next one, except
okay.
after that he said not to go back. And we
I
found
mean,
a need
to be
go
fair,
back.
we do have time. I reckon we catch a movie in town, or there's a screening actually of Avatar. So
Alright, 90 minutes from now, so 10:50.
yeah, but we've got to be there like half an hour before
Yeah,
that.
so let's go back, get our stuff, and then just head straight.
Yeah. Okay.
You gonna say?
Ooh, that's good.
Why is the button still pushing?
Alright. It feels like the race has like just begun now.
Yeah.
We're in for the long run. We're in for a long stint
You
tonight.
get it.
I'm just gonna start off walking. It's not, I can't.
Bye. So driving on our way to the top of Mount Buffalo, it's a really windy road, and there were actually a few spots where the runners would be crossing the road through the car's path. So we were driving quite slowly, and at some points I was like, oh, maybe we'll see Les going past. But there was this one turn where we would see a decent amount of time where a runner or Les himself would kind of go past us. And it was kind of a perfect turn in the road where there was a spot for us to stop.
I got out of the car during one section of the race to get a shot on my camera through these bushes, and I just pressed record, and Les just so happened to run through the frame. We had no idea that he'd get there at that point in time, so he was tracking quite well, and I think it was a good time to run into him. I think he was struggling a little bit at that point.
He looked so excited to see us, and he's like, get me potassium, get me salt. So it was kind of a lucky stop actually to see him there.
And it's always just nice when you're on a run to see people that you're close to, friends, family, whatever it might be. So I think it gave him that little bit more energy to get up the next section of the hill.
No, I don't feel good right now.
Okay.
Yeah, for some reason, like I'm just cramping up. Don't know why.
You need a water top up or anything?
You're not far off chalet.
I should be okay. Should be okay.
Is that one empty?
Yeah, that'll be right.
Well, the big walk is named because it is just a big walk, and it starts from the base of Mount Buffalo. It's 1,000 meters of elevation over the course of 10 Ks, and it takes you from the foothills all the way up to the chalet, where the terrain and the surrounding flora really starts to change, and you start to really feel like you're in an alpine region.
So we knew when we got to the top of the chalet that Les would have some noodles there. That was like his first proper real meal since the start of the race. So we set all of that up and waited, basically. At that point in the race, the runners have to send up these really steep steps to get to the very top of the chalet. The team and I were just waiting on the steps, timing it, and time kind of just started to tick by, and it was a bit longer than expected. It kind of worried me a little bit to see what condition he'd be in.
So waiting for Les to come around this bend, and considering how we saw him just about, I don't know, an hour ago, he wasn't looking too good. So, I mean, as we've seen a couple walkers, runners come past, they haven't been looking in the freshest condition, and the last stint they did was a really tough stretch. So, I think by the time he comes up the hill, he'll be pretty wrecked. Yeah.
Very good.
Oh, nice.
That was a rough field day.
That was a hell of a stint.
Getting to the top of the chalet was a really big mental win. I think throughout the day, I had to shorten the distances down in my mind to have these like mini goals and just like tick each one off as I went, instead of considering the whole thing altogether. And so getting to the top was a really big win. That was already half the elevation done, even though the race was only a third of the way over. And there was a big bowl of noodles waiting for me at the top, which was nice. And yeah, just a good bit of encouragement from the team as well.
This next section's nice.
Yeah, I actually get to do some bloody running for once.
Yeah.
I just feel pathetic. I'm like walking the whole time, and I'm
No,
like,
I know, but
yeah, it's just like
it,
it's just part of the game.
hopefully you can run down or try to for as long as possible.
So I feel like maybe I didn't rest enough at that previous spot. I was thinking like, I'll just walk real slow and then I'll recover while I'm moving, like a moving recovery, and that just like. It just didn't work out because I started cramping like 10 minutes into that climb, and I was like, oh no. Like there was a moment I was like genuinely like, no, I can't, I'm done. Like I'm not gonna make it to the top of this mountain. And then I slowed down a lot, drank all my electrolytes, forced myself to have another gel, and that kind of helped keep it at bay for a little while. And then honestly, it was like a miracle that I bumped into you guys, because I really needed that salt right then and there, and that gave me like a good second wind, because it's like my muscles aren't even feeling that bad. It's just every time they kind of start to fire up, they like start cramping a little, but yeah, I shouldn't really be feeling that at this point. I can't tell if it's like the humidity or like just the mixture of the weather and the climbing as well, but in any case, finally made it here. That's like half the climbing done for the day, which is good. The next 40 Ks or so should be actually like somewhat enjoyable, because so far it's just, I've been feeling like kind of pathetic as I'm just like walking like 80% of it so far.
To Crystal Valley.
Spend much time at the aid station, or was he like?
No, didn't spend any time.
So when I saw him, it was pretty much when he, yeah, okay.
How's this for service?
One time only deal.
Alright, no blood. No blisters either.
10 toenails?
This one's for free. But once it's starting to get the next main goal is to get to 65 Ks. Because if we can get there, then like that's when you join. You get 10 Ks downhill and like recover a little bit. Sorry. 46 Ks. It's visually the farthest I've ever run.
Totally.
So every other step that I take is a a new PB.
All right, ready to rock and roll.
You eat that little bit of Dorito there?
I'm saving that for later.
Hey, mate. Alright, just getting my running vest ready because I'm about to support Les from 65 kilometres on to about 80 kilometres, and then Chloe will be joining Les for the last section of the run. So I think he'll be feeling okay by the time he gets to me. By the time he gets to Chloe, I think he's going to be in the hurt locker. I'd be very surprised if he's not. Already showing signs of fatigue. I'm feeling good. I think the best way to support Les right now, just I don't know, be the hype guy. Just get him pumped, get him excited about what he's doing, reinforce that he can do it. I think he already knows he can. Otherwise, just have fun out there with him. Don't push him too hard. Obviously, I've got fresh legs, so I'm feeling very good. We're going straight into a big descent, so I think he's going to be looking forward to that because all day feels like he's just been going uphill. So I think he's really excited for this next section. And then poor Chloe's going to have to deal with a very emotional Les as they head up a huge hill. So see how we go. You just look like happier than everyone else that's coming in.
Yeah.
Everyone else looks like they want to die.
Like, you're gonna make it? You just tell them.
Yeah, two-thirds done.
Yeah. Like,
At this point, I think my leg muscles are just eating themselves. Yeah, that last stint, it's 12 Ks. Relatively flat. I got to run a lot of it, but the fatigue's starting to creep into the legs. I'm managing just to stay on top of it with electrolytes and sugar, but I'm just holding on. At this point, I feel confident because like the next 10 Ks, kind of get that for free. But anything could happen between now and then. Still, like I still don't know whether it's a sure thing or not.
Okay, so I snuck a pack of cigarettes in my running vest with me, thinking that at some point I would need to kind of take the edge off from like the adrenaline and like the stress of the day. When I was in Nepal, I had my first cigarette with some Sherpas up in the mountain passes. And every time I had one, I would be like looking over like this beautiful sunset, and it would just like kind of make my head spin a little bit and kind of just make me feel really peaceful.
Get a little bit of a head spin. No, I don't actually smoke.
And I thought that I would need something like that at around like the tail end of the race. I think it worked decently for my head game at that point in time because I was getting into the second half of the run, and it was, you know, things were getting pretty intense at that point. Our legs were cramping up and little stresses were starting to like kind of creep into my mind. So while it did help me mentally, I don't think it really helped me physically because all the food that I had like kind of scoffed down started to not sit so great, and started to make that gels a little bit more difficult to swallow.
I just don't condone the smoking at all.
Yeah.
So at the 65k mark, things are looking pretty good on paper. You know, I have 1,000 meters of downhill to go, and it should be a pretty easy stint. I've got a friend joining me, Lockie, and he's going to keep me company for the next leg of the race. But that was the last aid station where my legs were really like working properly because it was all kind of painful from that point onwards. Every step I took, there was like kind of like a shooting pain like throughout my legs.
I've not long just finished a 50-kilometre trail run of my own, and I felt really good going into the section with Les, but honestly almost immediately had ankle and knee pain, which eventuated into hip pain, all on my left side of my body. Thankfully, Les wasn't setting any speed records at that section of the run, and I don't think I slowed him down, but I was quite early on in that section in the hurt locker myself, Energy was really good. Mindset was good. It was just these niggly pains that I wasn't expecting. So I tried not to complain about it. I really wanted to, but I think he was in more pain than me.
So that part of the run is just reversing the big walk. So going from the top all the way down to the bottom. So I just thought it was going to be a really easy, free 10 kilometers that I would get. In the end, it just was not. So going down another 1,000 meters over the course of 10 Ks feels like it shouldn't be that steep, but towards the end, I mean, maybe I'm speaking on Lockie's behalf, but like even he was kind of like, feeling it in the knees a little bit. And, we got to the bottom and my spirit was kind of broken at that point. I was feeling really, really unsure and uncertain about the next 25 Ks.
We're waiting at the next pit stop, and by this point it's pitch black. Like, it's really hard to actually identify the runners coming into the aid station because all you can see are their head torches. So we wait, and maybe 10-15 minutes go by in terms of the time that we expect to see Les and Lockie, and no Les, no Lockie. We see another bunch of people, and I actually recall seeing this group of boys leaving at the same time as Lockie and Les had just left the chalet. So I was like, oh, well, must be soon. But yeah, another 5-10 minutes go by, still don't see them. So at this point I am worried because it's now maybe 70 kilometers into the race. Like, we're getting to the tail end, but there's still a decent chunk of the race to go.
After we'd come down about 1,000 meters of elevation, I was feeling okay. The legs really hurt. Les mentally was very fed up with it, feeling pretty average, I think, at that point. And we were honestly looking forward to any uphill. We're like, please, a flat section or anything that goes up, no more downhill.
But yeah, when they finally come in, it's looking a little tough at this point. Not as many smiles as before.
I think I'm starting to dissociate. Last leg was pretty brutal. It's just 10 Ks of just sending it downhill. It's not that fun. But we soldier on. Yeah, nearly there. 5 more hours. We'll be right.
So I'd been in pretty good spirits for the whole race. I was still able to kind of smile and laugh and crack jokes. At that checkpoint was the first time that I was starting to feel not so chappy anymore.
Dude, 5 more hours.
You think?
Yeah, I reckon. Thereabouts.
You got it.
You can do
You can
this.
do it. Like, it was always going to be hard.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
and now it's here.
Yeah.
You're good.
I might need to do a tacky at some point.
So what?
Make myself vomit.
The next leg, we were looking at a 350 meter climb and a 350 meter descent over about 8 Ks. And it was really just about putting one foot in front of the other and trying to get some solids in instead of just pumping gels. So I ate a boiled potato, and Lockie was comedic relief for me at that point. He was telling me some funny stories. One of them about how he was on his learner's permit driving on the highway with his dad, and then his dad told him to put the high beams on, and he accidentally just turned the whole the lights off in the car, and then they were hurtling down the highway at 110 kilometers an hour. And just a little bit of positive reinforcement and a little bit of laughter always goes a long way, I think.
Yeah, Les said to me at one section during the race, he's like, oh, it's nice to have your company, and to chat to you, but it's also just really nice to have someone else here because it's quite spooky. It's completely dark. All you've got is the light coming from your head torch. and it's just really creepy and isolating. And I'd imagine if you were by yourself, you could convince yourself you were going in the wrong direction. So it is super validating to have someone else there to go, yeah, we are actually on the right path. I did see a banner. I'm not going crazy. Everything's all good. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a runner on that section by yourself. From my understanding of running, and especially taking on a challenge like this, he was always going to get to a point where he would kind of lose it a little bit. You're completely done, and it becomes a mental game. And I think for Les, that actually come later than what I thought. I think for him it come at about 85 kilometers. I'm surprised it didn't come earlier. So, I mean, a testament to his training and also his mental resilience. Chloe and I saw a few people during the pit stops that were losing the plot 40 to 50 kilometers in, and Les seemed to hold his own till about 85, and then I think it was very tough going. During the 65 to 84 kilometer section that I ran with Les, he, for the most part, was looking really good, and I was confident at that point that he could finish the race. But then we come across another runner who said, how are you feeling about the next section? The section I wouldn't be running with him and that Chloe would be. And Les is like, I don't know if I've really given it much thought, or yeah, possibly dreading it. And then it made me realize that he was actually going to have to ascend another 1,000 meters and descend another 1,000 meters in the last 15 kilometers of the race. I don't know if I doubt he could do it. It was more about how long it would take him. Okay, so just finished my leg of the run with Les from 65 kilometers to 84 kilometers. The first half, Les really, was really hurting. And as you would have seen at the last aid station, things were kind of going downhill for him a little bit then. And then the next section we were heading straight uphill, and we're kind of happy about that because going downhill is so brutal on the body, the steep downhill. So it was nice to actually go uphill for a little bit. Les was very quiet. I didn't know what to do. I was like telling stories and would sit in silence for a little bit. We'd try to make him laugh. And then we endured this uphill. And then as soon as we went to the flat section, for some reason his mood picked up a lot. He felt much better. And then it flattened out for the last little section here, and he just almost like he'd come good completely. So I think he's good for the last 15k. He thinks it's going to take 4 hours though, which would have him finishing closer to 3 a.m, which would be 21 hours on the move. Unbelievable. Yeah, his morale, he's doing very well. He's doing extremely well. Yeah, I reckon he'll get there.
I knew at that point that I was going to be able to finish the race. And I think that was the main motivator that boosted my spirit. Knowing that I was going to get to the end was great. It was just a matter of like making it happen. And that's why I felt so much better.
Oh, good. We can enjoy it.
Somewhat. There's still Can you talk to me about this next leg, actually?
Yeah, it's steep.
Steep?
It's a steep boy.
Steep. About 9 k's in. 800 meters of elevation.
9k's 800?
9.7, yeah.
That's not that bad.
So mentally preparing myself for my section of the race was a bit nerve-wracking, considering I don't ever run in the dark with a head torch, go up hills really, wear a running vest. So there were a few things against me and against us at that point. But seeing Les's condition in the kind of pit stops prior to when I was about to start, I kind of knew the pace we were working with, and it wasn't particularly fast. So that kind of gave me a little bit of confidence in some way.
To put in perspective how challenging the last 15 kilometers of the race was for all the runners, but particularly Les, was that most people will walk at about 5 kilometers per hour if the terrain's flat. Remember, this is a run, so to cover 15 kilometers in good conditions would take about 3 hours. Now, the last section of the race for Les took close to 5 hours. Physically and mentally the most challenging part of the race. But once you pass 85 kilometers, there's really kind of no going back. If you're going to bail, it's at 85 kilometers. But beyond that, you're only going to have to, if you ascend that 1,000 meters, there's no point turning around and descending. You may as well go the other way and keep finishing. So after the 85 kilometers, considering he was feeling okay-ish, not that he knew he was in for a lot of pain, I suppose, the next 15, but once he passed 85 kilometers, I was like pretty confident he was going to get there.
And at this point, it's 11 p.m. There's still 15 Ks to go, and unbeknownst to me, it was the steepest hill I'd ever been on in my entire life. And all of that at the 85K mark, when the last thing you want to do is like start climbing again, it was a bit of a sting in the tail.
It's so daunting because the few walkers that we can see in front of us, it was almost like they were standing in the sky because of how high their head torches were in this ascent. So we're at the bottom of the hill walking up with our poles, and we just see like some lights pop up at where the horizon really should be, and then they dip down again. We don't see them for a bit. So we go up this hill and Les is trotting along. It is steep even for me. Like, I'm on fresh legs and we're still, I don't think I could go much faster than we were going anyway. By this point, it's really cold for some reason. It's been so manageable the rest of the race, but it's so windy, it's so cold. There's almost no one there. And pretty dark and scary, to be honest. I was telling Les, like, it sounds like the start of a true crime podcast or something.
I was kind of spooked out on those trails in the middle of the night with, you know, the wind howling and like hearing random like branches snapping, like, you know, all around me. I'd be like, what was that? What was that? It was really, really a slog. I had lost all happiness and all of my humor, and it was just kind of non-verbal, silent mode, and just trying to put one foot in front of the other. We were oscillating between going uphill, which was not as intense on the legs, but really intense on, you know, the lungs and the heart, and going downhill, which was relatively easy breathing wise, but it was just so painful.
I mean, essentially, if you think about running, everyone kind of assumes that the uphill is the challenge and the downhill is the easy part where you get to, you know, pick up some speed. But it was almost essentially the opposite, where the uphill was actually okay on the legs. But because of how much ascending and descending Les had done previously, the downhill was really the painful part.
In that moment, I was thinking about two things. One of them was like the Greek story of like Sisyphus and like pushing the boulder up the hill, and like I really felt like that's what I was doing. And the other thing was like this random scenario I made up in my head that if hell was real and like hell was this experience for eternity, it would be enough to like make me be a good Christian.
Going down this hill, we were going quite slow. It's a very rocky path and again, pitch black. So we're stumbling along down the hills, but in every step I can see how much pain it's taking.
So what got me through it was a bit of spite, actually. Like knowing that I could finish it and not being able to would have just been the biggest letdown for myself. And at that point, there was just no way that I was not going to do it. So I was either gonna like drag myself across the line, happy or angry. The other saving grace was having another potato going up that hill, and the copious amount of gels that I consumed as well, right towards the end.
So we finally see the lights of the stadium, and it's, yeah, such a relief to get to this point. And I kind of assumed we'd be running some portion of my leg, but we really didn't until we saw the last oval.
Seeing the finish line after 99 Ks really feels like being in the desert and coming across an oasis and like seeing that pool of water. And even though my legs were absolutely hurting, there's something that I think a lot of ultramarathoners experience, is that as soon as they see the finishing line, all of a sudden they can sprint like Usain Bolt again, which feels like I'm going at like 1,000,000 miles an hour, but in reality it's probably probably just like a slow jog at best. Hey. Thank you so much. Cheers. I kind of don't feel as elated as I thought I would feel. It mainly just feels like relief after the way that the last little stint went and like how painful it was. 'Cause I think I was kind of in some level of pain for about 7 or 8 hours. And just to have that be over, it was just like relief.
Seeing him cross the finish line, yeah, it was an awesome feeling, and maybe I even envy that in a way, to be able to finish 100 kilometers. Might have to put it on my list of things to do.
It's incredible. I'm so proud of Les to reach his goal. But I almost felt like it was like we couldn't really celebrate. We was just he was so physically tired. It was so late. It was such a long day that all we wanted to do was like have a shower and get into bed. So it was a bittersweet kind of moment. It was like, okay, we've done it, but let's hold this celebration until tomorrow when we're physically and emotionally and mentally able to celebrate.
A shoey, for those who don't know, is when you drink typically an alcoholic beverage from your shoe. I have, for some reason, made it a bit of a tradition for myself to do a shoey after a physical goal. So I've done one after a marathon, I've done one after like winning a climbing competition, I did one after walking 250 kilometers in the same gross pair of hiking shoes. There was no question about it, I had to do one at the end of this run. It tastes like victory.
Dude, gross. That's so gross. Now, Chloe, you have to kiss him.
Yay. I actually did it.
Yeah, you did it. Fucking did it.
There were like 6 points in the race where I was like, I'm not finishing this. And then, yeah, like 6 different moments where I was like, nah, it's done. Like, it's over.
Yeah, right. See this right here? The big double A.
Hmm?
Well, why are my hands so fucked up?
Yay.
Why are my hands
buddy.
fucked?
From the poles. Yes. Stoked.
What are 3 things you're grateful for?
Gels.
3:33.
Gels, Vaseline. And you
And those
guys.
shorts.
Nah, come on.
I think I had like 42 gels.
Yeah, well. There's a lot.
Well, yeah.
I'm probably sorry for that Airbnb bathroom.
Yeah, I had like a cubic meter of gels.
I'm not
I
doing-
put like 5 or 6 in it each time.
In the days that have passed and I've been able to like reflect on it a little bit more, it doesn't really compare the same way as running a fast marathon or like climbing a really hard boulder. They seemed a bit more goal-driven endeavors where there was an outcome that I was chasing and I needed to like get this one particular time or like get to the top of this boulder. It seemed that with the 100K, I was just happy with the way that I went about training for it and the way that I conducted myself during the day. And that even when things were not going great, I was able to laugh and smile most of the time, and just be grateful for the experience of being there. And I think maybe that's really what I was looking for the whole time. It was just a great day with friends, and it wasn't really about me or like this goal or proving something to myself. It was just finding a new experience and getting through something difficult. When I was a teenager, I always thought of myself 5 years down the road and serving, like working to serve that person 5 years later, like the future version of me. I've never really like stopped to smell the roses until recently. So like I'm turning 30 this year, and now like I feel like I am running out of steam a little bit, and I'm starting to like wonder, what's it all for? What am I doing this for? And can I keep up this momentum? And I think the answer is like yes, but in different ways. I don't think I need to break down my body. And as I get older, I think the challenges, or the nature of the challenges, will become maybe a little bit more well-rounded. Like not necessarily just physical, but maybe incorporating elements of like artistic expression as well.